Good afternoon, family, and happy Sunday. I pray that all is well with you all. I'm not used to coming to you all in this fashion as far as recording a video for you guys, but I only felt it befitting as we go into our upcoming fast on mental health this week. I wanted to come and kind of talk to you all about mental health. I'm a strong believer in you don't know where you're going unless you know where you're coming from. And so, with that being said, a lot of us may be dealing with some mental health issues, but are not aware because we don't know how to define them. And so I just kind of wanted to make this video to kind of briefly describe certain types or subcategories that are under mental health, just so we can have an understanding and in hopes that it will help you to kind of tap into yourself. And if some of these things you can identify with, then it gives you the information you need to move forward on correcting or even helping yourself or finding or getting help rather for the situations. So here goes. So first I'm going to define mental health for you all. Mental health is an overall emotional, psychological, and social well-being. It affects how you think and feel, how you handle stress, how you relate to others, how you make decisions, and cope with daily life. Mental health exists on a spectrum. Just like your physical health, you can have good mental health or you can have poor mental health, and you can struggle at times. The first subcategory under mental health that I want to talk about is depression. What is depression? Depression is more than feeling sad. Some people have a preconceived notion that depression is meaning you won't get out of bed, you just crying all the time, and that's not depression. For instance, I'm very open and transparent with my struggle. I have struggled with depression my entire life. While I'm on the positive side of it, I still have my days. For instance, this morning I woke up, I was in a good mood. I prayed, read my Bible, prayed with Randy, got up to prepare breakfast and prepare dinner for the day. And I mean, I was happy, generally happy, but then there was just this overwhelming sense of sadness that started to overtake me, and it affected my mood. I couldn't explain it, why it happened that way or nothing made me sad. I just all of a sudden felt just a sense of doom. And that is depression. Like I said, while I'm on the positive side, I still sometimes struggle with some of these instances that come up, these little things that I still haven't quite identified them, but they're little moments of sadness. But thank God I know how to kind of self correct and get around those. But that in itself is one of the things of depression. Also with depression, let's see, I lost my place, guys. So as depression is more than feeling sad. It is a mental health condition that affects mood, thoughts, energy, motivation, and sometimes physical health. It often lasts weeks, months, or longer and doesn't simply go away by cheering up. Common features of depression could be persistent sadness, emptiness, loss of interest or pleasure, fatigue, low energy, feelings of worthlessness or guilt, change in your sleep patterns, hard time going to sleep and staying asleep, or even hard time falling asleep, difficulty concentrating, and changes in your sleep and appetite patterns. The next subcategory I want to talk about is anxiety. Anxiety is a state of excessive worry, fear, or nervousness that feels hard to control. While some anxiety is normal, anxiety becomes a problem when it's consistent, overwhelming, or it interferes with your daily life. Common features of anxiety can include consistent worrying or overthinking, guilty, feeling tense, on edge, or restless, racing heart, sweating palms, even having GI issues or stomach issues, trouble sleeping, and fear of the future events or making mistakes. Now, the biggest one of all, trauma. What is trauma? Trauma is the emotional and psychological response to an event or series of events that feels overwhelming, frightening, or unsafe. Trauma isn't defined by the event itself, but how it impacts the person. Examples of trauma include abuse or neglect, accidents, medical or emergency. Accidents or medical emergencies, loss of a loved one, violence or disasters, and chronic stress or unsafe environments. Trauma can affect the brain and nervous system long after the event is over. An example for me for trauma, I have lots, but one of the examples that's more relatable. A few years ago, I was T-boned by a car. I was going straight. It didn't see me, and it just turned out. And so every time I'm in a car and I see somebody getting ready to pull out, I'm just always like, and they could be at the stop sign, but my brain automatically goes to, please don't pull out, please don't pull out, please don't pull out. And that's because that's unfortunately that trauma is a part of my core memory. And so every time I'm in a position where or someone else is in a position where they appear to be about to turn out on me, it instantly sends me into this fear and this trauma because I know what that feels like and I don't want to be hit by a car again. So, but some people's trauma is definitely much deeper than that. On a day-to-day basis, how these things can show up in life with depression, struggling to get out of bed, canceling plans or withdrawing from others, letting chores pile up, feeling numb rather than sad, moving or speaking more slowly, feeling like everything takes extreme effort. Anxiety plays a daily role in your life by replaying conversations over and over and over and over again in your head, avoiding situations just in case, feeling physically sick before normal events. And that could be stuff like going to school, going to work, because this don't just affect grown-ups, it affects our young people too. Always expecting something bad to happen, having difficulty relaxing, even when you're trying to rest. And trauma in a daily life, it can be you get easily startled or you're always on edge, avoiding reminders of certain events or people. And that could be, unfortunately, like the death of, or the anniversary date of the death of a loved one. Things like that. Sudden mood changes, trouble trusting others, feeling unsafe even when nothing is wrong. Many people experience overlap. Many people experience overlap. For example, trauma can lead to anxiety and depression. So you can actually have all three. Um, some of the ways and some of the things I've heard in practice, people describe depression as, I feel empty, I'm tired all the time, I don't care about anything anymore, I just feel stuck. I say that a lot. I just feel stuck. I feel so heavy. I'm just going through the motions. I feel numb. Everything feels pointless. I feel like a burden. I don't recognize myself anymore. I'm exhausted, but sleep doesn't help. I feel disconnected from everything. Depression can feel like carrying a weight you can't put down, like a fog in your mind, like dimming the color of life, like moving through water instead of air. So, now that I've brought all of those examples and helped to define some of those subcategories that are under mental health, I hope that this helps to shed a little bit of light on what we're going to be going over for the next 7 days. Mental health is a tough issue to discuss, but I really feel strong in my spirit that it's something we all need to talk about. Unfortunately, in the Black community, we are it's not taught to us to process our feelings. I know my mom doesn't mind me sharing this. Excuse me. But growing up in a household, single parent household, I was taught to be strong, like at all times. Like even if you had a moment where, life hit you, you 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 cry for a moment, but you get up and you get right into it. And that is how I have spent my life, hey, and knock you down, get back up and get at it. Wasn't taught to process the feelings. Like I said, I was taught and I was raised by a strong mother. So my thought process is I ain't got time to cry. I ain't got time to process, but I got to get up and make it happen. Like the death of my first husband, it happened. I cried a little bit, but then I was like, I got to get back at it. I got to get back at it. And so, now looking back at all those things, I should have taken time to process a lot of different things in my life. And like I said, unfortunately in our community, some people even frown down on when you talk about mental health. And it's not like that anymore. Like it's time for those of us who don't believe in mental health but struggle with mental health to kind of wake up and remove that veil and start seeking help, or even just open the discussion to talk about these things. So while this video went longer than I intended, I pray that it does give you guys some guidance for those of you who don't know a whole lot about it, mental health, but that it gives you some type of guidance and kind of opens up that door for us to start having these hard conversations that we will have over the next few days. So I love you guys, and I pray that you all have a wonderful Sunday afternoon, or evening rather. Bye.